Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Wednesday, November the 18th. Here's the news. Last night, the Little Rock Advertising and Promotion Commission gave its approval 6-1 to a 2-cent increase in the hotel room rental tax, with the idea that it could be used to pay for a $60 million renovation expansion of the Arkansas Arts Center. The city board must approve first. For it to be used for the Arts Center, it would have to be approved by voters to approve a bond issue big enough to do the project. This tax will take effect and be just devoted to city uses if voters don't approve the bond issue. Some hotels resist the tax. There is some resistance too to using all of the city's taxing power to benefit one institution. Some more opposition is expected before the city board votes. There's also some unhappiness that this vote is going to be called in February at a special election, very shortly before the March 1st primary, when more people could vote and when there may be a transit tax on the ballot that some people think is of greater use for low-income people. The City Board of Directors last night delayed a resolution calling for more study by the Highway Department on alternatives to its Interstate 30 widening plan, which now calls for 10-lane freeway through the heart of Little Rock, and serious questions about communication between different parts of town. Vice Mayor Lance Hines led the opposition. He said we simply have to consider the people who need to drive in and out of Little Rock fast, otherwise the city won't grow without them. Lance Hines seems to suggest that there are no jobs, Capitol, Verizon Arena, Symphony, Rep, Robinson Auditorium, restaurants, hotels, playing fields, stadiums that attract people to Little Rock. If we didn't have fast highways, nobody would come here. Of course, that's not true. They have none of those things in Cabot, Conway, or Bryant. They can endure a little bit of trouble in getting here. People seem to still go to New York City despite the absence of a freeway. Acorn, or its successor group, came out in favor of more study of the Interstate 30 project. It speaks from a position of knowledge of what Interstate 630 did to poor neighborhoods in Little Rock. It does support the quarter cent transit tax increase because its members depend on buses to get to work. Lance Hines doesn't think much about buses or the city schools that have been affected by encouraging commuters to live in faraway cities while the city's own schools have deteriorated. News came yesterday from the State Judicial Discipline and Disability Commission. It's filed a series of charges against a Wynn District Judge, Cross County District Judge Joseph Beckman, an incredible list of allegations from a more than a year-long investigation that he's traded favors in his court in return for putting people to work on his property and worse, trading for sexual favors. There's allegations of child pornography. This is a case that I've been told by my sources is in the hands of a special prosecutor, and this could go far beyond the judicial discipline realm, but he remains a judge for the time being. We learned from a Politico story this morning that the Koch brothers, the big conservative billionaires, are spending a huge amount of money on a clandestine intelligence gathering operation, which more or less spies on liberals to see what they're up to. They worked in the race of Tom Cotton, a big favor of the Kochs, against Mark Pryor, not any liberal by anybody's idea, but enough of a threat to the Kochs that they sicked their team on him. A 2-year-old in Benton was killed yesterday by a shot to the head from a .45 pistol. He apparently picked up a pistol that wasn't well cared for his house and shot himself in the head. An uncle said he didn't want to blame this on guns. More news on the refugee front. The ACLU and the Methodist Bishop of Arkansas has called for a little bit more compassion towards Syrian refugees and a tempered response to Governor Asa Hutchinson's statement that they're not welcome here. It recalls my days in South Louisiana in a community full of Syrian families, many of whom had fled oppression in generations before. I have a somewhat softer view of refugees here. As a result of that, I was interested that when a group announced in a news story yesterday that religious groups oppose being so hard on Syrians, that somebody, a Republican, fired back, well, it was just the Methodists, as if like they don't really count. What kind of religion do they follow anyway? Milton Crenshaw, an Arkansas native who was among the first Tuskegee airmen, taught dozens of young black men to fly planes in the war, died in Atlanta yesterday at the age of 96. The Little Rock police have captured a bank robber who dressed up as a woman to try and rob the Iberia bank branch by the Med Center. He was caught. His getaway driver is still on the loose at last report. Perhaps he didn't dress up like a woman. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Arkansas over the weekend, checking out the Terminator displays at Walmart stores in Bentonville. And finally, terrible news to Arkansas sports fans. Malik Monk, a Bentonville guard who was many hoped for would wind up on the Arkansas basketball team, has decided he's going to go to Kentucky. So he's blue and so are we. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.
You feel it in your heart. The spirit of Little Rock. We've had that spirit since 1927, helping build our city by producing decades of leaders in the heart of our state. We are the heart of business and innovation, the heart of politics and government, the heart of arts and culture, and in our city beats the heart of a Trojan. UALR, we are Little Rock's team and Little Rock's University.